Today we're diving into the best kettlebell back exercises that you can do. I'm gonna give you 10 exercises to help you build strength, power, stability, and muscle. And if you're over 40 and you wanna become strong, fit, and lean without going to the gym twice as fast, then download my free ebook in the first link in the description. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. The kettlebell is a powerful tool, and most of the exercises that I'm showing you in this video are actually full body exercises. That being said, there's still a way to focus your attention a little bit more on different muscles, and in this video, it's the back. First up, we have the hang row. This exercise is fantastic for targeting your lats, traps, and rear delts, giving you that coveted V shape. Start by standing with your feet shoulder width apart, holding the kettlebell in both hands. Hinge at your hips and keep your back straight, allowing the kettlebell to hang straight down. From here, pull the kettlebell towards your stomach, squeezing your shoulder blades together at the top. Lower the weight slowly and repeat. Remember, control is key. Focus on the contraction and avoid using momentum. Next, we're going to up the intensity with the single hand hang row. This unilateral movement, which is one of the key characteristics of kettlebell training, not only targets your back, but also works on your grip strength and core stability. The setup is similar to the hang row, but this time, you're holding the kettlebell with one hand. Keep your torso square and avoid rotating as you roll the weight towards your chest. This exercise is excellent for fixing any muscle imbalances. Now let's get into the gorilla row, one of my personal favorites for blasting the entire upper back. Place two kettlebells on the ground, slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Get into a squat position with your back flat and core engaged. Grab one kettlebell, roll it towards your hip, and place it back on the ground. Then switch sides. This alternating movement is great for building power and endurance while also challenging your coordination. Keep your movement as always controlled and focus on engaging your lats. One of the cool things about this exercise is that you can stabilize your non-working side on the kettlebell. This allows you to focus your attention on the working side, which is similar to a dumbbell row on a bench. We have the pullover, a classic move that targets the lats and also works the chest and triceps. Start by laying flat on your back, knees bent and feet on the ground. Hold the kettlebell with both hands, fingers inside the window, arms extended above your chest. Slowly lower the kettlebell back over your head and either keep a slight bend in your elbows or fully extend them to increase the intensity and the difficulty. Go as far as your mobility allows. Then pull the kettlebell back to the starting position, focusing on using your lats to control the movement. To the clean, an explosive exercise that not only targets your back, but also engages your arms, legs, and essentially your entire body. Cleans are for kettlebell practitioners, while curls are for bodybuilders. Start with the kettlebell on the ground between your feet. Hinge at your hips and grab the kettlebell with one hand. In one powerful motion, pull the kettlebell between your legs and hip thrust it upwards to hip level. As the kettlebell reaches its perfect height, insert your hand inside the window of the kettlebell and tuck your elbow under the weight and catch it in a rack position at your shoulder. The clean is all about technique, power, and precision. So make sure you're using your legs to drive the movement, not just your arm. Follow a simple cue that we use to teach beginners how to swing the weight, and that is pushing your feet inside the floor, imagining you have fruit below your feet that you want to squash every time you finish the exercise. And just in case if you're wondering what kind of kettlebell I'm using, it's the Pro Kettlebell by my friend Nikolai Puchlov, proudly made in the USA. There's 5 things that I love about the Pro Kettlebell. Number 1, the contoured arm pockets that fit well on the clean as well as with the snatch. This means beginners will feel right at home and professionals can get rid of their calluses on their forearms. The second thing I love is the high quality texture finish on the handle, which doesn't turn your hands into hamburger meat when you do lots of swings and ballistics in general. And this also means that you don't have to use a lot of chalk. Number 3 is the ergonomics. The Pro Kettlebell is a little bit smaller than the standard competition kettlebells, which means the weight sits closer to your center of mass. You feel it it in the rack position, and you get that immediate super flow feeling when you engage into the ballistics. Number 4 is the wide hollow core base, which makes it a safe option if you do kettlebell exercises on the floor, such as a handle push-up. Number 5 is the second grip because of the wide hollow core base, which lets you do curls and presses and exercises that you can't do with other kettlebells. There are even more benefits, such as a safe option of a magnetic weight chip that you can add inside the hollow core base of your kettlebell and make it heavier. Check the link in the description to get your pro kettlebell right now. And don't forget to use our code Lebe to get 10% off your next purchase. Now let's talk about the Snatch, the big brother of the clean. An advanced move that's incredible for developing explosive power, grip strength, and upper back endurance. Start in a similar position as the clean, but this time, instead of catching the kettlebell at your shoulder, you're going to drive it overhead in one smooth motion. Start in a similar position as the clean, but this time, instead of catching the kettlebell at your hip, you're going to drive it overhead into one smooth motion. The key here is to keep the arm extended as you go up. We always say, as the elbow bends, the power ends. Contrary to what your mind is probably telling you, try to loosen up your grip as fast as possible as the kettlebell reaches hip level. This allows you to perform a proper hand insertion once the kettlebell lands overhead. This move requires technique, precision, and timing, so practice with a lighter weight until you nail the technique. Then next up is the high pull, another dynamic exercise that targets the upper traps, real delts, and rhomboids. Start with the kettlebell on the ground between your feet. Hinge at the hips, and as you pull the kettlebell upwards, drive your elbows high and wide. The kettlebell should reach about chest height, with your elbows leading the movement. The high pull is great for building upper back strength and developing the powerful athletic look. Alright, let's get into the jerk, my favorite exercise. A powerful overhead press variation that works your entire body, especially your shoulders and upper back. You start with the kettlebell in the rack position at your shoulder, dip slightly at the knees, then drive through your legs by fully extending your hips towards the top to push the kettlebell overhead. As you do, drop under the kettlebell slightly to catch it with your arm extended overhead. The jerk is all about using your lower body to generate power, so don't just rely on your arms to press the weight up. One of the key movements about the jerk, which takes a lot of time to practice, is as the kettlebell reaches the top position, you contract your traps, pull your shoulder blades downwards, and screw your upper arm into the shoulder socket. This requires your back muscle to be fast, agile, and strong. Now let's focus on the farmer's walk, a simple yet brutally effective exercise for building back strength, grip endurance, and overall stability. Grab a kettlebell in each hand, stand tall with your shoulders back and core engaged, and start walking. The key here is to maintain a good posture. However, if you walk for a long distance or for longer sets of time, your upper body will move into its effective and most efficient position, causing you to slouch a little bit. The farmer's walk is not only great for your back, but also works your arms, core, and legs as you stabilize the weight. Last but not least, we have the Suitcase Walk, a unilateral variation of the farmer's walk. This time, hold the kettlebell in one hand while keeping your torso upright and square. The challenge here is to resist the urge to lean to one side as you walk. This exercise is fantastic for improving core stability, balance, and of course, building that strong, resilient back. As a bonus, I'm going to show you one of the most powerful and best back building exercises that you can do with a kettlebell, the double half snatch. Double half snatch requires technique, tenacity, power, strength, fitness, and it's a very tough exercise to execute. You essentially swing two kettlebells between your hips and catapult them into the overhead position. This requires a good blend of a hip thrust and a pulling maneuver from your arms. Contrary to the single arm snatch, you cannot use your upper body as leverage, which means this requires way more strength to pull off. As you keep the arms extended and jump into the hand insertion once both kettlebells land in the top fixation, this is going to stretch and strengthen your back like no other exercise. We stop at the rack position and then drop it back into the backswing. This movement pattern turns this exercise into the half snatch variation. And there you have it, 10 of the best kettlebell exercises that will build a strong and resilient back. Incorporate these moves into your routine and you'll not only improve your back strength, but also boost your overall fitness. Remember, consistency is key. So keep challenging yourself and don't be afraid to push your limits. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description called the Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness, this is where the kettlebell comes in. But you have to have a head start. You have to know how to get started with a simple workout and some simple basic exercises. And this is where my ebook comes in. So let me help you out 100% free. Download the ebook right now in the first link in the description.